All right, family. We are live. It is your girl, Michelle Franklin, Miss Michelle D.I. Y'all know me out in these internet streets. Look, well, they know us out in these internet streets. It is your girl, Michelle D.I. Why? For divine intervention, honey, because there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives, and Mrs. Community Builder. Why? Because that's what I love to do, honey, naturally, bringing you the good information, the information that you need for your mind, your body, and your spirit, and those emotions, honey. That is what we're doing. And we have been doing our book series on with Mr. Will Baptiste, with The Will to Rise. Look, can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Look, let me get closer. The Will to Rise, how to persevere in the face of adversity, is what we have been doing by Will Baptiste, aka the Haitian Sensation, is in the building once again. This is my family, my brother from another mother.
That's right. That's right.
How
We
are
are
you doing
here.
tonight? How are you doing tonight?
Overwhelmed, but we listen. We're getting it done.
Getting it done.
We're getting it done.
We're getting it done like no other. Now,
That's
again,
right.
we are so proud of this young man right here. And so for me, it is an honor and a privilege to go over each and every chapter and review and just talk about the different things that have come up. And so we have covered so much already. We
Yes,
still
we
have
have.
much to go. And so it is, just dealing with the journey of it all and the things that you've learned, along the way, and what might what lessons that you've learned along the way, and then things that you might be able to reach back and help somebody else with is why we're doing this. And so again, it's an honor and a privilege to go over this amazing book. It is a book of true transformation, just a journey of transparency, and a journey of triumph. I just feel like you are a conqueror to the 10th power. When I think of all that you've been through, you are like the definition, like conqueror in the dictionary, and your picture should be right there, like bam.
Oh my God. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's so sweet. That's so kind of you. I appreciate that.
Yes, and
Listen, I knew there was a purpose for this, and I knew that I wouldn't. I would do the world a disservice if I didn't put this uh, out there. And this morning, I made a post about being a cycle breaker, about being someone that's that's stopping this generational trauma, and
yes,
it comes with a cost, but it's a cost that I'm willing to pay
hmm,
to bridge the gap, or to divide it, depends on how you look at it,
yes,
and to make sure that I don't perpetuate, or I don't pass on what was passed down to me.
yeah,
And here I am today, man. I am fighting tooth and nail to make sure that I am the best in everything and at everything that I do. The
yeah.
best of my ability, not the best in terms of comparison, or comparing myself to anybody else, because there's only one me. And as I've said before, there has never been somebody like me. There isn't someone like me, and there will never be another person like me.
I
So,
know
baby
that's right.
girl, what I'm here to do, only I can do it this way.
That's
So
right.
I'm going to give it my 100%.
That's right. And all the gifts and blessings and what God has for you is for you, that is to come. And I pray you just all the success. And that's why I had to support you and support this, because it's one thing to talk about walking in purpose, but it's another
Right.
thing to do it. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And there's so many people that I feel like have so much unprocessed trauma, and that I just know that that your book and your journey of overcoming and how you've overcome will help them. And so we have been, reviewing. If you guys have missed anything, then please go to the YouTube channel, Reflections
Yes.
Choosing Me Guilt Free. That is CMGF Reflections, CMGF. That is Choosing Me Guilt Free. And the other ones, the previous shows are on there. We are at chapter 5.
Already.
We're at chapter 5. We are rolling. So
Yes.
we're at chapter 5. So let's go on and get into it. Let's get into it.
Let's
Chapter
do
5
that. Yes.
is Goodbye Grandma. Now
Ooh.
this is very significant. I know for sure because your grandma was everything for you.
Yes, she was. And the thing about it, it's funny that we're talking about it now because her homegoing anniversary is coming up in 2 weeks.
Mm,
And that's the reason why Christmas has not been the same
yeah.
for over 30 years.
Wow.
It's been 30 years that I've never I celebrate Christmas because of my children. I don't think it's fair to them
Right.
that I don't celebrate, but I don't celebrate because I want to. I celebrate because I feel like it's an obligation as a father. I don't want to punish my children for what
Sure.
happened to me.
Sure.
And But for me, it is a sad time, and no one should tell anybody when they should stop grieving or when they
Yes.
should move on. It's just
Yes.
like healing. Now, it doesn't it's not as painful as it was the first 10, 15 years, but it's still something that would always, we'll call it, in the psychological world, we'll call it the worst day cycle. The worst day cycle is basically it's one particular day that you live it over and over and over again. I'm getting better at that. I'm really, really good doing better, but it is what it is. I've never been able to have someone that can replace her,
Yeah.
and we just doing our best, and that's it. So, you know she's in a better place, and uh, I wish she was still here. She could see what I become, but
Yeah.
she's not. But I'm sure she's listening, she's watching, she's praying for me,
Yes.
and I want to make her proud. I want to make her proud.
I love that. You know what the thing about it is, um, my grandmother's, my big mama, her birthday is December the 24th. And she passed away 8 years. It was one of the things that sent me into this spiral of anxiety and depression and just this whole nother life that I didn't even know existed in this mental health realm. And the significance of, those loved ones. I
Hmm.
want to just touch real quick and touch base on something that you said, which, she's not here. For me, I always feel like what helped me was knowing that she is here. You know what I mean? She might not be here in the physical, and she might not be with you in the physical, but I do feel like, there are times when I feel my big mama spirit. My stepfather that raised me passed away the same year. Like it's times where I'm down, what I feel that spirit, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I feel like those are the things that are when I think of your story and how you've gotten through so much, I do feel like she's been there, like, you know what I mean? Like your guardian angel is how I see them now,
Right.
as our guardian angels
Absolutely.
leading it.
And the reason why I say it like this is because of the time of the year that she passed away. Had it been a
Yeah.
different time,
Yeah.
because there wouldn't be anything uh significant attached to it, but because of the time of the year, and as a
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
as a 12-year-old boy,
Yeah.
you are looking forward to Christmas,
Of course.
and then boom, there's a death. And how do
Yeah.
you how do you can't celebrate Christmas. Well, you
Yeah.
you could, but it wasn't
It's different.
happening.
It's
You know what I
different.
mean? So to me, that's what makes it even harder. But like I said, it's been 30 years, and I'm talking about it tonight, but then tomorrow will be another day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be another day, and the time is gonna come back again next year, and I'm gonna say, Grandma, I hope I'll make you proud, and that's all I can say. I no longer blame her anymore. I know I'm no longer. I have forgive her,
Mm-hmm.
because of what happened when she was alive, and I felt let down. I felt betrayed by her.
Yeah.
I felt, you know, uh, I think it was unjust, but I
Mm-hmm.
have forgive her. I forgive her about 5 years ago. So it's all good now. It's all good. We can talk about it, and we can feel whatever feeling that comes up, whatever emotion that comes up. We're gonna feel that,
Yeah.
and then it's gonna be just that emotions, and that's it.
Well, you say here in the book, my beloved grandmother passed away when I was 12. My world fell apart. I lost my shield, protector, and bearings. I think I lost myself because I no longer knew who I was. And even though I had loved her dearly for years after she died, I blamed her for the bad things that happened to me both before and after she passed because she wasn't there to protect me. I think
Mhm.
that's so significant. I feel like that is so significant because as you said, as a 12-year-old, to how you're processing those things,
Mm.
you know, you do see people as they have a significant role in that role, and to feel like, I've been in these situations and I shouldn't have been, or maybe it might have been different.
Right, right, exactly. But you know what? That's a so when I was writing about this, I somehow bring myself to the 12-year-old mind frame.
Yeah.
That's the only way that I could write about it. So I had to transport myself into that 12-year-old boy mindset, and to relive. It's funny how I was able to relive how I felt the time, to be able for me to be able to really articulate that in put into words.
Mm-hmm.
Again, hindsight 2020, would my life be different? I don't know, but that's the beauty of the unknown. That's the beauty of what could have, should have, right?
Yeah.
But then again, I'm way past that now.
Yeah.
Now I can talk about it without getting too emotional, and
Yeah.
if I do,
That's
so
okay.
bad,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what I talk about. I'm an emotional health coach,
Mhm.
and I would acknowledge my emotions, and I would embrace my emotions, but I will control it, not suppressing it, but I will control it, because again, being a man, you got to learn to master your own emotions, not suppress it, but master it, or in other
Yeah.
words, control it. So I'm good, and to be quite honest with you, I think that's what gives life more meaning now. I think death is what gives life more meaning. I think death is, I think it gives life not just meaning, but it makes sense to life.
Yeah.
It makes sense to life, because if there was no death, then what would be the point of of making a difference in this life if you know that you will always be around, right?
Yeah. And it
Now the
helps us
only
to
thing is,
appreciate life as well. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And was she gone too soon and too early? Who am I to say it was too soon, too early? We all have an expiration date.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love what you say. I aspire to inspire until I expire.
Yes.
We all have an inspiration date. And if you're here, that means your mission is not over. So get
Yeah.
to work.
Get to work.
Whatever
I
that work looks like, get to work, because your
get
mission ain't over yet.
That's right. I always say, as long as you're on this side of heaven, you know what I mean? God is giving you time to pull it together for all those people that feel like, maybe I'm too old, or it's not, my time has passed. I'm like, honey, you still on this side of heaven, so you still have time.
Absolutely.
I want to touch base real quick on the fact that you said just 5 years ago that you forgave her and you were able to let that go. What did you do in order to get to that point? Because again, you were 12 years old, and I'm sure how you were processing it. You know what I mean? So what did you do to 5 years ago that you were able to get to that point? For anybody out there struggling with this thing, because some people don't understand that you are angry when somebody passes away. That is part of the grieving process. Like that's a stage in grief is anger. And it might sound crazy to somebody to be angry with somebody that's passed away, but I've been angry with people that have passed away. You're like, what was you doing? That was stupid. You know what I mean? Like you have all of these thoughts because we don't understand it. You know what I mean? And we're
Mm,
just trying to figure it out. And a lot of times you do process it with anger.
mm-hmm.
What why did they do this? So why couldn't they stay longer? You're angry with God, all of that stuff. But what did you
Right.
do in order to heal
That's a
that
great
area
question.
5 years ago?
I I tried to forgive her before and I couldn't do it. And I'm gonna tell you why. That's because I had to forgive myself first before I could forgive her. Because there's no way I had the strength to forgive her. Because it's in forgiving myself that I found the strength to forgive her. And the fact that I know what it feels like to be forgiving, right?
Mhm.
Not only by God, but to forgive myself. So I'm like, what's the point of holding on to something that it's not is no fault of her own. And the longer that I had on to that, and the longer that I wasn't forgiving her, the long the longer that I was dying on the inside. Because remember, not forgiving someone, it's like drinking the poison and hoping that person is dead, and that drinking the poison and hoping the person will die. In that case, she was dead, right?
Mhm.
But for me, it's the strength that it took me to forgive myself. It did. It, I think it takes more strength to forgive ourselves than it is to forgive someone else,
Definitely.
because we don't think that we need forgiveness, and so that's an internal work. That's an inside job. So once you've learned that, once you've come to that understanding that you must forgive yourself first, then it was easier. I didn't say it was easy, but it was easier for me to forgive her. And also because she came to me in a dream, as I was just talking to her, I was talking to God, and I felt like God was very distant from me. I said,
Mhm.
well, I'll go to someone that I trust. And that she was the only person that I trust. She wasn't
Right.
there. I'm like, well, at least I can speak to her.
Yeah.
Till this day, she's the only person that I've ever trusted. And I went and talked to her that day, and then she really helped me. And I feel like she was still there protecting me. And at that moment, she released me as a full grown man. They say, okay, now that you have come to that understanding, now you're on your own.
Wow.
But this whole time she was protecting me. Now she said, now you're on your own. And that to me, that was just one in the it had to be a little bit more than 5 years ago, because I remember vividly where it happens. It has to be at least 7 years ago, because I
Yeah.
remember where I was
Yeah.
sitting there, and then I made a video about that as well, to say thank you, Grandma, for talking to me. Thank you for letting me know that I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And then thinking that it was gonna be okay, and that's when all hell broke loose for me. My second divorce was very contagious, and then I got to a second marriage, and then everything went downhill from there. But it was a character building season,
Yeah.
because now she was protecting me. Now she said, "Now you're on your own, because I
Mhm.
can no longer protect you anymore. You've got to go out there and you got to make a man of yourself."
Wow.
I had to become a man because I didn't want to become a man, because I was scared, because I didn't know what becoming a man was like. So she was still carrying me. So when she
Yeah.
released me, that's when I learned about a lot of things. So as long as she was carrying me, I don't think I
Yes.
would be being able to come to the understanding of who I am today.
And see, there's somebody out there that's not really going to have the understanding of what you're talking about and what it is. It's on a spiritual realm, guys. This is not a physical thing, right? When you have this connection with people or someone that you love and they leave and get into the spiritual realm, again, they're still there leading and guiding you. They're still around you. And it's almost like I keep picturing the Lion King, you know what I mean? Like I keep picturing
Mm,
Mufasa, you know what I mean? Like his spirit is still there and it's still kind of leading you and they speak to you, you know what I mean? And they will come to you in your dreams. And some people are like, oh my God, this is too much and this is kind of crazy. But whether you believe it or not, it still is what it is. Um, the spirits will come if you're open for them to come, if you're open to hear them, especially somebody that you love very dearly. You know what I mean? And so I think that it's beautiful that it got to a point where she felt like, okay, you're okay now. You know what I mean? Like that's what I got from that. Like, you're okay now. I know it. Like it was almost like I'm still worried about this baby. I gotta just stay close. I
right,
got to stay close
exactly.
to him. I don't know about this baby right here. Like, he's still fragile, but it was almost like, okay, you're okay. Go ahead out there and spread your wings now. Like she kind of kicked you out the nest almost.
Yep,
Beautiful.
literally. Yep.
That's beautiful. It's scary. Like you said, it is scary, but beautiful nonetheless. Now, this chapter 5 touches on a lot of, emotionally touchy things, but we're going to go here for a minute. Um, because in here you talk about how the sexual abuse started.
Hmm.
And I put on here because I just hear from a male perspective and boys and like a little boy thing of because it was initially was a woman. We talked about that in one of the other ones. That initially was a woman and she was going to teach you how to do it. How old were you? Because it doesn't say in here. How old were you at that time?
It, I know. Okay, we must have left that part out. Maybe at that time I didn't want to say the age, um, because I didn't want people that are close to me kind of put it together. But I'm sure they will because I thought that I had put it at the age, but I was 9.
Wow, honey. Wow.
I was
And
9.
at 9 years old, you got a female, a person in your life that again who you trusted, who should have been someone of
My
trust,
caregiver.
a caregiver that was supposed to be taking care of you.
Hmm.
Talking about she's going to teach you how to do it. It's sickening. You know what I mean? Sickening.
When my son turned 9, I had I had a I had a breakdown
Sure.
because that's the age that happened to me, and I had a meltdown.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish he could have just go from 8 to 10,
Yeah.
but when he became 9, when he turned 9, I'm like, and I'm looking at him, and then I really had a moment of craziness if because I'm looking at him.
Sure.
He's 9,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at him. I'm like, he can. He's 9. Look at him.
Yeah.
I'm like,
He's
this
just
is
a
what
baby.
happens. Just a baby.
Yeah. Just a baby.
But you took me at 9 years old and you do this to me?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it was a moment, and I look at him, and that's when I give him. I think I give my son more love at 9 years old than I've done in the previous 8 years
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I just wanted to love on him
Yeah.
and protect him and shield them, and I, I didn't want anything. I didn't want anybody to get close to him. I didn't want anything to happen to him.
Yeah.
Listen, I even asked his mother. I say, "Can I have him for the year, for
Oh.
that year?" Right?
Yeah.
I wanted him to be with me. I wanted to protect. I want to be there. That's how
Yeah.
scared I was. I mean, it was just thank God I didn't go overboard. I didn't go like crazy. But
Right.
it was at that moment I wanted to protect him at all costs. But I know someone that can, and that's when God stepped in. He said, "Listen, even if you did have your son with you, you can't be with him 24/7." But he
Yeah.
said, I can. So
Yeah.
leave it up to leave him to me, and I will take care
Love
of it.
that.
And that's when I let go,
Yeah.
and I let God be
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I love that, honey, because one thing what you were experiencing was the unprocessed trauma of PTSD. I always say, since I've learned about PTSD and since I've been diagnosed last year with PTSD, I was thinking, I said, dang, I haven't been in a service or anything. What do you mean I have PTSD? But it's those things like that we have had trauma and things that have happened to us that we don't process because we're just, you just continue and go on, but they're very significant traumatic things that have happened, and it affects you and you really don't even realize it until you're in a situation like this. Now my child is the same age that I was when this thing was happening to me. Oh my god. And you get all of this, you know
Hmm.
anxiety, and you try to figure out what's wrong with me, like why can't I, what I mean, calm down, but you get all of this worry. I completely understand when you were, because my daughter is 14 years old. And at 14 years old, I was in the eighth grade and I got pregnant. I had sex for the first time at 14 years old. I had an abortion at 14 years old. And when my daughter turned 14, all I could think of was, oh my God, this baby is 14. Like,
Mm,
I was this age. You know what I mean? And I was so
right.
grateful. Like I just kept praying, like, thank you, Lord, that this child is not in the city. She's not in the mind frame. She's not in the space. You know what I
Right.
mean? She's not having these things or thoughts that, all of this trying to keep up with the older kids like I was having. She could be a 14-year-old and be a child. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so it is that thing is so strong, you know, it's so strong. I wrote on the side of here, there's some people that are going to process this like, oh, it was a woman that did this to him. And I said, there's someone out there that will say, man, you were lucky. Maybe, uh, because it was a woman. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
For
Hmm.
those people, and that's why I said I need people to process this and know how old you are. There's nothing lucky about a 9-year-old being touched on by a woman, man, like none of it. Because I know other boys that were, inappropriately touched at 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. That, I mean, they just wanted to be kids and be boys and go out and play.
Exactly. Exactly. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to have to learn. I mean, it carried over into my relationships, my marriage,
Yeah.
because now I'm confused. I confused love with sex
Yeah.
because it muddied the water for me.
That's one thing I wanted to I have in here. I said that the girls say I love you, because you do say one thing it did was to cause me to associate love with sex. Even before I got married, I tell the woman I love sex. I say, you must give me sex. We talked about this other day too. If you don't give me sex, you don't love me. So was it that, what did she say to you, for anybody out there to say to teach their children? You know what I mean? Because I know even when I was molested, I always used to say to my daughters, if he tells you this, they're lying. If somebody tries to touch you, then nothing's gonna happen. Like I would tell her all the things that they say in order to.
Hmm.
So was she saying to you that she loved you, or what did that association come from?
No, she never did. She never did, and I know why she never did. I'm not sure if I'm too comfortable to say why she didn't say it, but no, she never did. She never did it in the name of love or being attracted to me as a man.
Hmm.
It was the spirit that was no. There was no attraction. There was no, oh man, I like you and this, and I wasn't like overdeveloped. It
Hmm.
wasn't like I was 9, but I looked I was 16. None of
Right.
that. So, and it wasn't. How can I say that? It was close enough as a family member that they could not love me in that way. Well,
Okay.
maybe I don't know. So all that to say, there was no there. It happened because the spirit behind it, and I feel like the spirit was the one that's driving, or that was in the
Demonic
driver's
spirit.
seat,
A
right? And
demonic spirit.
I believe, yeah, it's
Hmm.
always the demonic spirit.
Definitely.
I also believe and that's just my gut feeling, and based on studies and all of that, I have a feeling she did have it, had it happen to her.
Yeah, definitely.
For two reasons. Reason number one, because when my grandmother walked into the room, she knew something was happening, and she stepped back. So years later, as I'm going to therapy, just for that, because I had three therapists at some point.
Yeah.
I had a therapy for PTSD because I'm a former firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
I had a therapy because of all the trauma that I've been through, and also I had a therapist for just men that have been sexually abused.
Wow.
So, and what he did tell me was that there are two reasons why people do that, because either number one, they've been through it,
Yeah.
it happened to them, and number two, it's just it's just the way they were trying to express something, but that's the only way they could have expressed it. And so I become the victim because I was close to that
The
person.
easiest target, like an easy
I was
target
the
type
easiest
thing.
target,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that person went on to continue to do it, with other people
Really.
that I know of. Oh, absolutely. So there was a pattern.
Yeah.
There was a pattern there. So, and I hope she get delivered, and I have forgive her. And here's this was the hardest part for me. The hardest part was not to come to the point to forgive her. It's the fact that she said she had nothing to be forgiven for. That was worse than the act,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
here I was at a place of calm, at a place of peace, and I wanted to say, you know what, I forgive you, and for that, I really, to be honest with you, I was caught by surprise because I did not expect that. I thought
Sure.
they would just say, you know what, thank you for forgiving me, but nope, I had nothing to be forgiving for. That to me was worse than the act, and it was just a knife. It just right shit to my heart and just twisted.
Yeah. What what was your reaction when you did she y'all were having a conversation and she just
No, we weren't having a conversation. I just text her.
okay.
I just text her. I said, "Listen, I'm at a place right now uh, that I have forgiven myself. I'm in a
Yeah.
better place now, and I just want to let you know because I need to release you.
Surely.
I just want to
Surely.
let you know that I forgive you." My gosh, and
Yeah.
and 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 then I was mad at myself. Oh, I call myself all kinds of names. I mean, I was just angry at myself. I'm like, you should have never seen anything. Now, here's the way. And then now, you know what it did to me? It played with my mind. What, did it really happen then? If she
Surely.
said there's nothing to be forgiven for,
Surely.
did it
Surely.
really happen? Well, I know it happened.
Right.
I
Right.
can tell you exactly,
Right.
30 years ago, yeah, 33 years ago, where I
Yeah.
was exactly,
Right.
the room, everything. So I know I'm not making this up.
Right.
Like some people would like to make us think that we're making things up.
Right. That's called gaslighting. She gaslighted you.
Oh, she got. Oh, yeah, yeah, big
Yeah.
time. She
Yeah.
big time gaslighted me,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden, I was now questioning myself. I'm like, "What, did it really happen?
Yeah.
All these years I've been lying to myself." I'm like, "No, I'm not lying to myself. No."
Well, I mean, the other part of it is that was which was even more sickening to me was the bringing somebody else in and the other person watching. And like,
Well, that the other person wasn't even. It wasn't just watching. They bring in for me now. She was watching what I was doing it to with the other person.
oh, I read that wrong.
So
Okay.
so 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 so
Oh
maybe
my
it
gosh.
become like an entertainment to her,
Right.
because now, and she taught this other young lady. So now she looked at herself like, okay,
As
here's what
if
I have.
as that's almost like a pimp type of situation or something
Pretty much. Now here's what I have created. Look
like
at
she
that
did
now.
some
I
grand gesture.
I can sit back now and watch what I have created. That you have to be the biggest monster
Yeah,
to be doing this.
to a
And
nine-year-old.
at that time, I was a year. older or 6 months older than the other young lady.
Wow.
That that young lady could have easily been pregnant, and maybe she was. I don't know. Maybe
Wow.
she did get pregnant. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's now thinking about it now, it brought a lot of question now. I mean, this person, is still alive and well, and this young lady is married with three beautiful children. um I spoke with her, I don't know, about a year ago, but we never spoke about this though. Never. Never. So we knew it happened, but we just want to be in denial that it never happened. And
Yeah.
that one carry on all the way to about 16 years old,
Yeah.
because now she just let us, do it. I mean, it was just sickening. I just, oof. Yeah. Let's move on. Shall
We're
we?
gonna move. We're gonna move on. I do want to move on, but just just to say to anybody out there that may even be in a situation like this, or even have experienced a situation like this, to know that, one, like Will said, to get to a point of forgiveness for yourself, and then to get to a place of forgiveness for the other person. Um, but we're definitely moving on, honey. Um, but this is one of the things that shame and guilt and I wrote, shame and guilt and fear will hold you hostage. And so, just how Will is saying, you don't talk about it. You have to go back and deal with things like this, because it will hold you hostage. And so, just that part. So we're moving on. We're moving on. And thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your transparency. I know that was hard. Okay, so we're moving on to chapter 6, and you are escaping Haiti at this point. You do the
Yes.
crime, you do the time. I put up here, what's your history? It was only a matter of time. It was like you were a ticking time bomb. I could just imagine this anger, this ball of anger that is developing in you with all of these things that are happening or had happened, from being in school to everything with grandma, to then with this situation with the like you're just going on every day, and this is what I say, as we go and be and do. This is what we do. We're going and being and doing. We're just going and being and doing every day, going and being and doing. And these things are happening to us. And then what do? We don't acknowledge them. We keep up. That happened. Up. We got to keep going and being and doing. You know what I mean? So here you are now traveling. But the one thing that I did say that I thought was a blessing in disguise was your mom was in the United States. And when you got into the trouble, excuse me, with your mom being in the United States, she could have easily been like, nope, I'm not coming down there to help you, or to do what again? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, but the fact that she came for you, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is how I took that, because I feel like, I think that we could, we blame our parents for a lot of things, and sometimes we don't see some of the good stuff, you know what I mean, that they do. But that was and I was like, thank you, Lord, she didn't leave him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking like, what is she gonna say? You know, but the fact that
Let me make sure that I'm being fully transparent. She knew.
okay,
She knew. It did come to her as a surprise. She knew.
your mother,
Yeah. She knew what was going on.
you say, what do you mean by she knew what was going on?
Well, you say she didn't leave me there. Well, she could have left me there, but she knew I could have, there was a possibility that that could have happened.
Oh, back up. You talking about what was going on at your grandmother's house?
No, 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 no. I'm talking about, we were talking about the fact that when I got caught and went and I went to jail. Is that
Right.
what you were talking about?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So she knew. all the dealings. So she would have left me there because it wasn't like, I call her, I say, hey, listen, I'm in prison. So it would have been just a matter of, I don't know if you follow what I'm saying. You say that she could have left me there. When you say she could have left me there, are we talking about she could have left me in Haiti and going through all the things that I was going through?
No, I meant she could have left you in jail when you went to jail.
Right, right. Like, that's what I'm saying. She could
Okay.
have, but I don't think it would have been in her. I wouldn't say in her best interest,
Mm-hmm.
because she knew the people that I was dealing with.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. But she knew the people that I
Okay.
was dealing with, and I don't think she would have been able to live with herself and had she left me there.
Got it.
Right. But she could have. I mean, you don't know what's going on in people's mind, right?
Yeah.
She could have easily left me there, but she didn't. But she was disappointed. Yeah, as probably any parents would. She was disappointed, but she didn't leave me there.
Surely. That's all I was saying. Just kind of as a parent, and with all of the crazy with the history and all this stuff, I just felt like, okay, okay, thank you, mom, for going to get this baby and helping him out
Yes, yes,
at
absolutely.
that point. And so you said in here, you do the time, you do the crime, you do the time.
Yes,
Is it worth it? I also tell them to about taking responsibility for your actions is essential. I haven't got anybody to blame but myself for ending up in prison. Although I wasn't even an adult, I realized I was a co-participant in everything.
right.
And so I just wrote on the side, the blame game is real. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was, amazing for you to take responsibility and accountability for your actions, because it's so easy to say, well, if this wasn't happening to me, then this would have, and this, and all of the stuff that you really could have said and been
Hmm.
justified in saying. But to take the accountability, I think it's so important. That's one of the things I feel like you teach very, very well, is the accountability piece.
Well, that's a sign of growth. That's a sign of maturity,
Yeah.
right? That's going from a victim to a victorious mindset.
Yeah.
That's going from trauma to triumph.
Yes.
That's going from a disaster to a master of your own emotions. So I had to, and I couldn't be the person that I am today had I not taken responsibility and accountability. Anyone that you see in a place where they don't want to be there, but yet they are still there, that's because they have not taken a full responsibility. They're still waiting on somebody to come save them. They're still
Yeah.
waiting on someone. They're still blaming every circumstances. They blame the rain. They blame the sun. So if it's raining, it's the rain's fault. If it's too hot, if it's snowing, it's always someone else's fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's never a time for them to take a step back and process and say, what's the what is the one thing? Okay, do I still? It's raining right now. I can either get wet or I can feel the rain.
Yeah.
Huh? So you can go against the current or you can go with the current. It's up to you. The choice is
Surely.
yours.
Surely. Surely. So we're moving on to chapter 7, searching for an image. Value yourself more highly than material things that you want. In here, my first question was, how were you processing guilt? It just felt like you had been through so much, but it still seemed like, just the guilt of it seemed like you were carrying guilt. So how are you processing guilt at this point? You said, I became in a way a child again. You was out, but now what? I became in a way a child again. I had to live with mom again, and it was tough. There were no more beatings, and I had money, but I still couldn't go where I wanted because you had just got out of jail, right?
Hmm.
I couldn't have the friends I wanted, and I remember feeling guilty about what I put her through. And so I
Yeah.
was just like, how were you processing guilt at that point? Because that was the first thing.
Well, because first of all, she makes me feel guilty. So it's just another way she was gaslighting me. Oh, this is
Yeah.
what you put me through and this and that. So of course I felt guilty.
Okay.
But all my life, I have put a lot of guilt on for everything that happens to people that are around me. That it's my fault. Well, the Bible. I'm not sure if the Bible say it like that, but we don't sin in a vacuum, right? So everything that we do, there's a ripple effect. There's a repercussion of everything because every action is a reaction. So it is something that I had to fight my whole life and not feeling guilty about everything that I do. Even to the point of doing things for myself. Sometimes I feel guilty about that. But I came to a point where, you know what? All this guilt that I'm holding on,
Yeah.
those all burden, those all heavy burden, those all weight. And I can't continue live my life like this anymore. So I gotta live my life with purpose. I gotta live my life as if I matter, right? As
Yeah.
if my life matters. As if I'm a person and I matter.
Yeah.
So I had to get rid of those guilt, and of course we can't get rid of all of them. And even just this week, it was kind of hard for me because I realized I was watching. I don't know if you know Tank, the R&B
Yeah.
singer,
Uh-huh.
and he did a video on Thanksgiving, and he was right in front of the camera, and he was being grateful for all the people that are in his life, and then all one they were coming one after another to give him a hug, and he was saying how grateful he is, and that moment, and I called my daughter, and I start crying. I'm like, I want my family. I want to have a family.
Yeah.
It was at that moment. I'm like, man, I didn't realize how much of a family man I was. And I
Yeah.
knew that I've always wanted to have a family. That's why I did get married and this and that. But I didn't know how much it really meant to me until I didn't have it anymore. So this
Yeah.
week was a test for me, and uh it was really hard for me this week because I'm like, I miss you. I want to have a family.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why a lot of times people would do things, you know, they will do something. They say like this, making a permanent permanent decision for a temporary problem.
Yes.
So imagine me decided that all of a sudden I'm gonna get in a relationship, then I'm gonna move in with a woman, blah blah blah, just because I want a family. Well, that's not a basis of having a family. Just because you feel kind of quote unquote lonely that you want to
Right.
have a family. Me, it wasn't because I felt lonely this week. It's just the whole atmosphere of having a family, having your spouse and having your children and
Yeah.
around. That's what I miss because I'm not lonely. I'm
Right.
I'm alone, but I'm not lonely.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
a
mean? Because
difference.
I've got people
Definitely.
around me. So it's just
Hmm.
at that moment it really hit me this week. I realized how much I love the family dynamic, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why I see. I'm going to get married, by God's grace, and God know that I want to get married again. So I don't think He's gonna make me end up being like Paul, like never get married.
Yeah.
Paul said, if you could be like him, it's better than I could get married. Now listen, it's better to be married than to burn. And plus, I love family, and I want to have my own family with me. So yeah, definitely, I'm
Yes.
getting married again. Absolutely.
Yes. I feel like that is such a significant myth to bust about men, and especially about African American men, because a lot of the scene out there is guys want to be in the club, they want to be single, they want to jump from this girl to this girl to this girl. I know a lot of men that are genuinely family men. They want to be family. They ended up being in wrong relationships or marrying the wrong woman or jumping too soon because they just want to be in a family. They just
Did
want
you
a
know
family.
there's a study that says more men wants to be married
Yes.
in a long term relationship than we think.
Yeah.
It is not true that women wants to be more in a relationship. Men actually wants to be more in a relationship because we know what it does to us when you're in a healthy relationship.
Yes.
Financially speaking, spiritually speaking, physically speaking, when you're in a healthy relationship,
Yes.
men thrive on a healthy relationship. So why
Yes.
would we not want to be in a relationship?
Yes.
Because I have learned in some of the men that I work with, I say a real man, a man that can flex, is not a man with 100 women. A
Right.
real flex for a man is a man that can love a woman 100 ways. For
Yes.
me, that's flex. That's flexing right
That
there.
is flexing. That is
You know what I'm
flexing.
saying? That to me,
Yes.
that's flex right there. So That's why I aspire to get married again, and I can just envision already. So that's why sometimes I have a smile on my face, because I can envision already how my marriage is gonna be, because now I fully understand the not just the importance, but what it takes to be a husband, the
Yeah.
responsibility,
Yeah.
of being a husband. Now I understand it now. I got it. I
Yeah.
finally got it after two tries. I finally got it. I'm like, yes. And I'm still working. I'm still ironing things out. But I finally got it now. I'm like, okay, that's what marriage is supposed to be like. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So let's continue to work on this. Let's continue to go to the gym and practice. Practice. And you're gonna when they get married again, man, it's gonna be good. Now you know who to choose. You know how when you see certain things, how to deal with it, and this, that, and the third. I'm like, man, I'm excited. I mean,
So
I'm really. I mean, listen,
I love
for
this.
a man that's been married twice already,
Yeah.
excited about getting married again.
Yeah.
I think it shows the level of my growth, of my where I'm at spiritually,
Yes.
and everything. So it's a very exciting thing, and I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take the time that it's gonna take, but man, it's going to happen, and I'm gonna be very happy.
I love that. And I love that for you because I feel like at the end of the day, and we talked about this before as well, I feel like at the end of the day, um, that abundant life that we're supposed to live, I feel like we're supposed to share with somebody. And
Absolutely.
so that does excite me because um I spent so long being afraid for that reason of because it being hurt in past relationships. And so it is a beautiful thing to see people excited about being married. And that's why I'm always looking online, and I love the love stories and I love all the things, you know what I mean, and
Mm.
all of that. But to hear a black man say, I'm just saying, to hear a man say, but to hear a black man say that he's excited about marriage, he's excited about being in love, he's excited about loving someone after all the crazy that you've been through, that's God.
It is. It is. It is God. I mean,
That is
it is.
evidence that God is still here and present in 2023.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. And so I feel like on that note, we're going to go real quick into chapter 8, Black women. Black
Oh boy.
women
Okay. I'm like,
today.
okay, when is that gonna happen? I'm like, here we go. Let's go. Let's dive into it.
Black women today. I see black women as beautiful queens and treat them all respectfully. And so I had so many questions on here. I had so many questions on here, but I just had smart and intelligent. Um, I wanted to know first off, well, we're going into black women, but I wanted to know. I had a question. What did you dream of being when you grew up? What did you dream of being when you grew up? When you were younger, what did you dream of being?
Oh, I want to, of course. I mean, everybody. I couldn't say everybody, but most of my friends wanted to be. Who want to be? I mean, this is typical for you know someone coming from the Caribbean. I mean, if you're not one of those, you're a failure. Doctors, lawyer, um, maybe teacher, police officer. So those are the things but I kind of,
The well-respected professions.
yeah, exactly. But I've kind of been kind of close to that. I mean, I was a firefighter, and now I do conferences. So that's a teaching part of it.
Yeah.
My dad was a gynecologist,
Yeah.
but for me, I couldn't see myself being a doctor because I passed out when my daughter was born. Just seen her head. So now there were like four doctors, two doctors on me and two doctors on my ex-wife because I passed out. I couldn't believe, but I was being selfish though because I know why I passed out. Can I be honest here?
Please be honest. First off, it's disgusting, but go ahead.
Because when the baby come out, I'm like, Man, this vagina would never go back to the regular size. I was like, I'm sorry.
It
I said,
stretches. It stretches pretty wide. Yeah, the head
man,
was
I'm
pretty big.
like, man. I mean, I don't know if you ever seen my daughter, but my daughter's head was big.
Oh,
And
that's
when I saw that baby, but first of all, I'm like, I humans coming out of that. So I was scared I was being a dad. And I'm like, but again, I'm like, this thing's just kind of wide open. I'm like, I'm
that
like,
is hilarious.
no. Oh man, I wanted a C-section just so we could bypass that, but they're like, no, a natural birth, it's better than a C-section. I'm like,
What
well,
is that?
who are you talking about? I mean, I'm
You were
like,
trying
come
to out
on.
cut the woman open just to preserve the
Yeah,
canal.
yeah, man. So I didn't
That
like
is
that.
such a typical man thought process. But
Yeah, I
that's
didn't like
real. That's real. I love it.
that.
So you passed out looking at how wide the little
Oh
baby
man, I
head
passed
coming
out
out
for
of
so
there.
many reasons, but that was number one reason. I'm like, and I'm thinking about myself. I wasn't thinking about her. I wasn't thinking about the baby. I was just thinking about myself. I'm like, man, what's gonna happen? Well,
That is
and I'm
hilarious.
like, come on, man. Anyway, but yeah, I've always had a problem with even but as far as 6 7 years ago, and I was going to Jamaica and I had to take some vaccine, and I don't know 35, 34, 35, and the nurse had to sing to me
Distract.
um
Yeah, to
to
get
take my vaccine, and I'm a bodybuilder. So for me, putting a needle in my arm or whatever, it was just even blood. It's just I, anyway. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
that is hilarious. And so I just had that. I had that back that I forgot to ask earlier. So I was like, oh, let me take that in there real quick. But okay, we're in chapter 8, Black women. Black women. I would just, imagine the amount of forgiveness of women that you had to do to even get to say today, I see Black women as beautiful queens and treat them all respectfully because I'm sure you was on. I mean, you said it in here. You was on some other stuff with the women, and so how did you even? First off, okay, let me just rewind back a little bit. How did you? Why did you get married? Like, how did you pick your wife, and why did you get married like that first wife? If you were feeling some kind of way about women, was it like help some men out there? Like, why did you get married the first time?
I can't say that for the respect of her. I can't
Oh,
say why.
okay.
But I would say being married did
Well, and I
what
just kind of
happened.
mean the mindset that you had. You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
you
that's
and that's
always something
okay.
that I've always wanted to be married.
Okay.
I got married quicker than I wanted to.
Yeah.
Not because she was pregnant, but it's just some situation, whatever. Um, but we were already together. We weren't living together.
Mhm.
She had a child, which I helped raise. When I met her, her daughter was about 3 years old. When
Mhm.
we got married, she was about 4 and a half, and then I helped her, raise her till she was about 12. And till today, I remember like a few years ago after I separated with her mother, she said, "Yeah, I know I have about a biological dad, but I still consider you as my dad." And she
I love
never considered me as her stepdad.
yeah.
And
That speaks
I
volumes.
I
I just
have
want
her.
you to say that to you. I just want you to know. That speaks volumes.
Right, right. And I even have her move to her first apartment.
Yeah.
And I was there to help her to make sure. And that was about 2 years ago. And
Yeah.
I have already been separated from my mother at least almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
don't talk as much anymore, but we used to talk a lot on the phone as if nothing happened.
Sure.
For me, like I said, marriage, I've always looked at marriage. I didn't understand. It's funny. I wanted to do something, but never really learned about how to do it right
Yeah.
because of what Hollywood has done to us. It show you the glitz and the glamours and all the
Mhm.
happy time, but never really show you behind the
Day to
scene.
day, and yeah, the
Because had
reality
I
of it.
known what it was like and the responsibility
Yeah,
of a man, I probably would not have done it.
yeah,
And if I knew myself, I wouldn't done it either. So I went into this blindly, um, and there's the result today. It
yeah,
didn't work, and I did it again second time. It didn't work, but it is something that I always admired. It's just to call a woman my wife.
yeah.
I never wanted to have a, oh yeah, we
Girlfriend.
just shacking or whatever. It's just
Yeah,
never in my DNA, or maybe because I'm a spiritual man, doesn't mean I'm perfect. But I like, excuse me, I like to say this is not because she's I'm objectifying her or she's my property or that's my wife. Yeah, that's my wife. But I love saying putting that
right.
seal, so
Yeah,
to speak, right? Putting
yeah,
that seal on her, say that's my wife.
yeah,
There's a strength. There's pride to
yeah,
that. There's this. It's different.
yeah.
It's different. I don't care how long you've been with your woman. Y'all been together 20 years, but for the day that you're married to her, to this woman, I don't know. There's something, at least for me, there's something about that's my wife.
Yeah, yeah,
Or maybe I'm delusional, because I know some people that are in love with the idea of being in love, or
yeah.
maybe I was in love with the idea of being married, but not really fully understand. But obviously, I didn't fully understand what the responsibility of being married, and I think I was in love with the idea of being married,
That's a
and
good.
not
That's a
understand
good.
the full
Yeah,
response, the
yeah.
full you know what it takes to be a great
Like to
husband,
be a
not just a good
husband.
husband. I want to be a great. I want to be a, like, you know a bomb a husband. I
Honey.
want to be the greatest husband. You understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying? I want
yeah,
to be. I want to be the husband of the century. I want to be the husband for that woman. I want to with this woman to go out and just brag about her man, how good of
yeah,
a husband that she had. I
yeah,
want to be that.
yeah. What would you say are the maybe the top three things that you've learned in those two marriages? If you had to pick three things that you've learned between those two marriages, what would you say those top three things were that you're gonna take into this? When you find your new wife.
Yes, I have to have empathy and compassion. That's something that I have lacked because of the thing that I've been through. I have
Yeah,
to have a lot of empathy and compassion,
yeah,
and also understanding that the way that women communicate love differently. I mean, knowing about the love languages. So I've learned that I need to love a woman the way she wants to be loved and not the way I want to be loved, because
yes,
I was showing love the way that I wanted to receive it, which from the get go, that's wrong. That's one. Number two, have empathy and compassion, and number three, understand that whether the person is the same color as you or come from the same country, you still have a different. You were raised in a different environment. You may have the same culture or some of the tradition may be the same, but you were raised in different environment. And when I mean environment, I don't necessarily mean the outside. I don't mean like literally the environment. I'm talking about a home, because your home is in an environment. But I wasn't raised in the same home with that woman, so I just need to
right.
understand that women are very particular and understand. And here's what I've learned now. Going to my next marriage, whenever I'm going to be talking to my wife, I'm going to pretend that her dad is around, and that is God,
Mm,
because you would never talk. A man would
mm. I love
never
that.
talk to a woman while the daddy is present. Never. I don't care how mad you are. So I'm going to act as if her father's there, which he is, because God is her father. So I'm going to be talking to her as if her physical father is there, because I want to make sure that I'm showing respect to her father. So I
Yes.
think those are the things. So number
Oh
one,
man, I love that.
understand who I am, and love the woman the way she wants to be loved. Number two, have more empathy and compassion. And number three, talk to her as if her father is there watching.
I love that. I love that. And that is because I have underlined the last sentence in this chapter. It says, so I saw black women as just good enough to sleep with, and that would be it. I never really got close to them because of my past relationships. It would be a long, slow journey to change this view, but I eventually saw black women as beautiful queens and treated them all with respect. And what you just said is so significant and so just necessary. you know, necessary. I think that we don't think about how we communicate and the importance of communication.
Mm,
And, even just the way that you say something. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Because I always say, you're the man, you are leading. The man is supposed to lead. So if you're saying something crazy, guess what that woman gonna do? She gonna say something crazy too.
Well, but just
She gonna
remember,
talk to me crazy, so I'm gonna say something crazy back.
but here's the thing. I always say be careful what you give a woman because she will give it back to you tenfold. You give her woman a grocery, she gives you food. You
Yeah,
give her a house, she give you a home. You give
yeah,
her seeds or you give her sperm, she give you a child. But you
yeah.
give her a BS, trust me, it's gonna come back to you tenfold. So be
Simple.
careful what you give to a woman because she will give it back to you.
Yes. Um, I just have the last question is here. We'll wrap up here. If we had to teach some people how to love yourself and how to love uh, to 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 turn the hatred for women, men, what advice would you give to them to say? What would you do? What advice would you give to them?
So was you saying from a male perspective, if I had to tell a man how to turn hatred into love?
Yes.
Well, understand is now it's easy. Understand that if hurting you, if hurting her doesn't hurt you, then you don't love her. You're just using her.
Mm,
Let me say that again. If hurting her doesn't hurt me, then I don't love her. I'm just using her. So for me, it's easy knowing that if I do something to her, I'm doing it to myself.
yeah.
Then I won't do it to her. Now, I'm not perfect. I won't always get it right. And that's one of the things that I live by, that I'm going to live by for the rest of my life. I
Yeah.
won't always get it right, but I will, if it's in my power, I will always make it right because we can always make it right. It may not be with the same person, but we can make it right for the next person. We'll always be given an opportunity to make it right. So think about it. The next time you think about hurting a woman, whether it's mentally, physically, psychologically, however it is, know that you're all hurting yourself back because she's part of you.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna hurt her and that doesn't hurt you, and that's the way you got to think. Okay, well, I'm hurting her, and in return, you are hurting yourself. It makes no sense. So those are all the things that I wish I knew, and this is what I want to teach men now. Whether you've been married once, twice, three, or four times, or maybe you've never been married before.
Hmm.
Those are fundamentals. So those are the things that can never change. They're just the very basic thing. And I want men to understand that being married, being a husband, is the ultimate. That is the highest office,
Yes.
higher than being a king, higher than being a president. Being a husband is the highest office you could ever hold. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I wish I did. And I'm sorry.
Hmm.
I I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. And
Yeah.
I put those women into something that I regret.
Yeah.
And I had to forgive myself for not knowing what I didn't know.
Yes.
God put me in a position to love those women, to cherish them.
Hmm.
Do they have their faults? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I'm a man. I'm the man.
Yes.
God never asked Eve, "Where are you?" And God knew what happened. He went to Adam
Yes.
because although it wasn't Adam's fault, but it was his responsibility because he was a shepherd.
Yes.
I failed those women because I didn't, I didn't take my full responsibility. So therefore, because if they fail, it's because of my own failure. Now I'm not taking their I'm
Actions.
not letting them off the
Right.
responsibility. I'm saying I had a duty,
Yes.
and not just only to them, but to God
Yes.
for being a husband.
Yes.
That is my ultimate failure. But I don't look at it as failure because I've learned from it, and I'm gonna make it right.
Yes.
And that's why I am I'm so looking forward to get married again. And I'm gonna tell this woman wherever she's at, she's gonna be one of the most, I won't say the luckiest woman, because I don't believe in luck,
Yeah.
but she's gonna be the most loved
I'm
woman,
about to say love came to my mind. Yeah.
right? She's gonna be the most cherished woman.
Yes.
She's gonna be the most, and my eyes, I mean, this woman, and I pray to God, and I say I just want to stay close to God because when I don't feel like loving her, when she's unlovable, I still want to love her because there will be
Yeah.
days that she's gonna nag, she's gonna get on my nerve,
Yes, of course.
and those days are the day that I'm gonna need to love her even more because she's unlovable. Because I remember
Mhm.
there was a time that I was unlovable.
Yeah.
I remember there was a time that I was lost.
Hmm.
I remember those days, and God still reached out to me. So this woman, I mean, wherever she's at, man. Whew. Honey, wherever you are, listen. I just want to take a minute. If you don't
Listen.
mind,
Look, wait a minute.
I
Let me
want,
give you the spotlight right here. Come on and talk to her. Come
like,
on. Let me give you the solo
I just,
layout.
yeah, I just want to say to my next wife, wherever you are in listening, I love you already. I love you already. I'm gonna love you with the love of God, and the most precious. Um, you're the best woman in the whole world, and no other woman will come before you other than my daughter. um, and listen, I pray for you, and I'm gonna be the best man that I can be. So wherever you are, keep praying, keep seeking God. Um,
See, I'm gonna find you, girl.
I'm gonna find you, girl. Trust me. Trust me, I'm gonna find you, girl. But I don't have to find her because she's always been here. I
Gonna
just
come.
gotta uh, 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 come to that awareness that she's here,
Yes.
right? Because God already reserved that woman for me, and we just haven't come together. And listen, I want you to take a good look at my eyes, girl. Wherever you are, I love you. I love you, and listen, man. Yeah, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop right there.
I love it. You took the glasses off. It got serious for a little
Cause
while
no,
ago.
cause she had to look. No, but she had to look at my eyes. Say I'm serious. She had to know that this is a
I love it.
declaration I make between big and God that I'm. And I say, man, the next my next marriage, man, they're gonna have to take me out of a body bag because listen, I'm gonna make sure it works. I'm gonna make sure it works.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no do over. This is it. So that's why I must take my time. That's why I must
Yeah.
stay, close to God
Yeah.
and continue doing what I need to do because man, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop.
Well, you know what? All jokes aside, I feel like, just like you said, we rush into situations. I was just talking to a friend of mine about this yesterday. We rush into situations, we rush into relationships, and and then we wondering why they didn't work out. Well, you didn't take the time to do the work on the front side. there's a lot of assumptions. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And so I would just say, take the time to do the work on the front side. I think it's a beautiful thing to know, that your heart is open and ready. Because if you didn't do the work and you didn't do the healing, then you would be what? Going into a third divorce. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
But the fact that you are so serious, I mean, and you may have said it in a jokingly way, but I know that you're very genuine in what you're saying. You know what I mean? And it makes a difference for whoever, that person is going to be out there. It is, one to just be open to it, to be open to love and be open to whatever God has in store for you, and you doing your part, to be intentional. I think the other thing with our generation is we're so quick to leave. You know
Mm,
what I mean? We're so quick to just be like, I'm out, you
mm,
know, instead of saying, no, I'm in this for the long haul. And I think when you start off in a relationship that way and start in the, I mean, call it, I mean, first people I thought about was Will and Jada. Like, no matter what the crazy is, Will Smith is like, I ain't going nowhere. Like,
bad marriage for life.
we
Well,
doing
I'm
this.
not sure. I'm not sure if this is
I'm
healthy,
I'm
but
not
that's a
saying
whole
that that's what you want. I'm just saying the mindset of he
right.
said this is an experiment of unconditional love.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, say what you want about them, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's unconditional love. The good, the bad, and the crazy, babe. I'm still here. I'm gonna be on one side of the house. You can be over there on that side of the house. But that's it.
Right.
I don't think I would want nothing like that. But I do want who don't want the unconditional love though? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Who don't want like babe, like you said, babe, I might not like you today, but
Yeah.
or you get on my nerves today, but I still love you, but don't kiss me today. I don't want to kiss you right now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
real. You know what I mean? That's real. And so, anyway, I always appreciate your transparency. Girl, you better find this man.
Ay.
The Haitian Sensation that's put it out there. He took his glasses off for you, girl. I can't wait for this wedding.
I tell you, it's gonna be somewhere
Look,
in
I'm
the
coming to
tropical.
the beach.
It's, it's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
have my
somewhere in the
shorts
tropical
ready.
with the wearing linen, all white linen, and
I'm gonna
with a
have
little
my white
hat,
linen
and
ready.
just
I'm ready
you
to
know,
sunset wedding.
yes, absolutely.
I can't wait. Well, it has been a pleasure. We have gone through chapters 5 through 9 tonight, and the thoughts that have come up. It got a little touchy there for a minute, and that's, it is what it is. We know there's going to be a little touchy sometimes. And so again, I appreciate your transparency. I appreciate your vulnerability, because I know it's not hard, one, to have written this and all that you've endured, but then to
Mhm.
come back and talk about it. Our questions and my questions are not rehearsed, y'all. We don't talk about what's going to talk about. I just
Nope.
told him I'm going to, talk to you about whatever came up in my mind and my thought process while I was reading the book. And so, and that's what we are doing. So as we go through and we continue and our support, y'all, the book is available, The Will to Rise, How to Persevere in the Face of Adversity. It is available on Amazon. It's available on thewilltorise.com as well.
Mhm.
And so, I got mines for Amazon, but I would like to say, because, I did see you signing copies. I was like, I want to sign a copy too.
It will happen. I will make sure it happens in person. That's the reason why I say I might have to, when I meet you, I might have to take that book from you, give you another one though.
I'm fine with it because I got notes. I done written some in red, some in blue.
Yeah, it probably gonna end up being in a catalog somewhere in my office, for my kids to see it. So when I meet you, I might have to switch up the book. I might have to give you a new book and take this one.
It's all good because I want my signed copy. I'm good with that.
Yes, yes. So
I'm
keep
definitely, it
that
might be,
somewhere.
it's
Don't.
because I carried it around reading it and taking notes and, and writing in it and everything. So but
And
it's
like
it's
like I,
not.
like I said before, I think you we probably have enough notes to write another book from that
That's
book.
true.
So please keep it safe, keep it
Yeah,
somewhere where it doesn't get damaged, because I definitely wanna go through it and see what was going through your mind while you were reading it.
definitely. All right, guys. When we pick back up again, we're going to be starting with chapter 9. That is finding faith, honey. Finding
Mm,
faith.
yes.
Which I love. I love this chapter.
Yes.
Finding faith. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound. Lord, Lord, Lord. That's beautiful. So again, my brother from another mother, tell them how they can reach you.
Listen, man, they can just through the screen, just reach me. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, just go on IG, man. Just go on IG, or or while you're on Facebook right now, or if you're watching on YouTube, I put it on my Facebook and YouTube as well. Just
Yeah.
send me a DM. Send me a DM, self love, so I know where you are watching me when you send me that DM. So send me a DM, self love, and let's connect.
Yes.
Let's connect. If you have any more questions that you want to ask me, um, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. And if you're looking to get for gift this year, and especially if you're a woman, if you're a mother, a
Yeah.
wife, a sister, or whatever, just a friend, you're looking to give a man a gift, yeah, give him a gift of healing.
Yes.
Either give him a gift, you buy him the book, or you give him a one session with me. I guarantee, and I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. There are two things that are guaranteed in this life. That's death and taxes. Until then, now I find out that there's a third one, and that is I can't guarantee you after one session you will already experience emotional liberation. That's a guarantee. So if you're looking to give a man a gift, and ultimately that gift also will be for you, because again, when our men heal,
Yes.
our community heal. And if
Yeah.
you want to see a real man, make sure that little boy inside of him is healed, and you'll be
Yeah.
surprised. You'll be amazed what kind of man he becomes. So yeah,
Love
so
that.
find me on IG, find me on Facebook, and wherever on the Will Baptist or Will to Rise, you will find me. Trust me, you can't miss me. You can't miss this beautiful face. Okay, so send me a DM, self love, and let's connect.
I love it. I love it. And you know me, it is your girl, Michelle Franklin, Miss Michelle Allen Franklin, Miss D.I., Honey Y for Divine Intervention. So I always say, baby, if you are watching this and or you just been scrolling, it's not by happenstance. You are watching it because it's a divine intervention, honey. You were meant to see this. You need this good information. So don't be stingy either. Share it. Share it
Mm,
with somebody that you love, somebody that you know might be suffering from some unprocessed trauma, maybe some PTSD, maybe who's struggling with forgiveness. This is a great book and great lessons on how to forgive, in the face of trauma and unprocessed trauma and just adversities of life. And so, like Will said, give the gift of healing this season. It is Christmas season. Give the gift of healing. Well,
yes.
until next time, it's your girl. I aspire to inspire until I expire. Honey, that's what I'm doing. What you doing? Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you, Will.